Today we're going to be talking about Mervyn LeRoy. Now, how do you want to start this discussion about his? Well, should we? I don't know anything really a background. I guess it's not going to be a biography or whatever. Whatever. So Mervyn LeRoy, filmmaker from when did he direct movies from? Just the 30s and 40s, right, or into the 50s?
I believe 30s to the 60s.
Okay, so he was a yeah, because he was around after that to do all those like legacy interviews and stuff too.
Let
Like
me
he
double
was,
check that.
I think he directed
Mervyn
movies into the 60s, but
LeRoy.
I definitely know. I've definitely pretty much only seen his movies from the 30s and 40s.
He directed from 1927 to 1966.
Oh
Is
yeah,
what
because
Google
I've
says.
seen I've seen the Bad Seed. That was in the 50s. Okay, never mind. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Um, all right. So you want to tell me how you got into Mervyn? How did you? What is the first Mervyn LeRoy film you saw?
So this is a funny story. So I'm a big fan of a movie called Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, and Dan O'Hurley he plays a character in that film. And I watched some of his films in his filmography, and one of them happened to be Home Before Dark. I believe this was in 2021 when I first watched it. And after I watched it, I was just floored. I loved it. I was shocked that this was not known as a classic, and it's now my second favorite film of all time. But that's how I was introduced to Mervyn LeRoy. But I didn't start watching his films until last December. So that's how I got into his films, basically.
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. Who did he play in Home Before Dark?
He was Arnold, the husband.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that. Usually I look them up and then I would know. Yeah, I did. So he was the old guy in the Halloween that wanted to kill all the kids.
Yeah, that's Dan O'Hurley. Yep.
I know you love Halloween. I like the concept of Halloween 3 a lot because I like the witches and the whatever the warlock, whatever the hell. That's pretty cool. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, I don't know what the first Mervyn LeRoy film I've seen. I'm looking at all the ones I watched. I think the first one I saw was either Little Caesar or Random Harvest. I don't know which one it was. Probably Little Caesar, but it could have been
Hmm.
Random Harvest because I've seen all these other ones within like the last year or two. I saw a lot
Yeah.
of them when I was, doing this with you, but I had watched them back, I think, in January or December. So we were talking about doing this video. So I watched like maybe like 10 more or sorry, 8 more or something. I don't know. But
Yeah.
so nowadays we talked about how he's most famous for producing The Wizard of Oz, which was one of the weird. Wizard of Oz is kind of the weirdest film ever because it's the most seen film in the history of movies, and yet it's a mess in terms of how it was made.
Oh
Like it's
yeah.
like a slap job film. They only made the film because another film was successful. So it wasn't even made because somebody really wanted to make it. It was made because they were aping off of something else. And then it's got like a million people making it, a million producers, directors, changing things. When you watch the movie, you could see all the editing mistakes, people talking, but no words are coming out. So things like that. But it ends up becoming a classic. That's what he's most known for now. But I think he has his 30s movies are really great. And then I also think The Bad Seed is great. But let's try to talk. So, you want to talk about your favorite ones and then maybe we'll have some overlap here because I have
Yes.
I have 8 of them that I want to talk that I actually like. And then the other ones I can mention for a second, but I don't have much to say about the other ones, but there's 8 of them that I really like. So, you have 7 you said that you really like.
Yes, what we can do is if I mention a film that's on your eight, then you can, after I'm done, you can just give your thoughts and we can have a discussion about it. If that's cool with
Yeah,
you.
did you see before we start there's one that he directed with somebody else. He directed one where I think he had to split the directing with John Ford. Did you see Mr. Roberts?
Yes, I did watch that one. I did.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about yours and then if we miss something that I really want to talk we'll figure it out. But we'll go through this pretty quick. So, all right. So what's the first one you want to talk about?
Well, obviously, I want to get your thoughts on this because I know your rating, but my favorite Leroy film still to this day is Home Before Dark.
Yeah, that's the
I
one
just think
that's the one you really like. So you could talk about it first.
I just think it's a very fucked up film. It's got some of the best acting I've ever seen. I love the writing. I love the what Leroy I've noticed with Leroy in his films, he loves to challenge like societal dynamics. Like he would tell a story that was like testing society in some specific way, and how the film plays out is very interesting. He does that with a few of his films I'll mention. But Home Before Dark is about a woman being released from the psych ward in the 50s and how she's treated by her family and society. And I just think it's a intense drama with it's all dialogue, but it's got really good acting by Gene Simmons, Dan O'Hurley, they're just phenomenal. I love the fact that the writer of the book, Eileen Bastine, wrote the script with her husband, and I'm actually rereading the book now. And the book is the same, but the book has a lot more. It's more like not as subtle in a good way, if that makes sense. But the movie is way more subtle. It doesn't answer any questions. It's really ambiguous. But I just think it's a film that should have been a Best Picture winner and should be a classic. I don't know why it's not.
Well,
But
I don't even think. I mean, at this point, I don't even know if any. I mean, I guess Little Caesar is kind of known, but I don't really think any of Mervyn LeRoy's movies are considered that get talked about. May,
which is sad.
I think Little Caesar gets talked about because it's one of the earliest gangster films. Though when you go online and read reviews, especially I fucking hate Letterboxd, but when you go online and read the Letterboxd reviews, they're like, "It's so tame. It is not that violent." It's like, yeah, I guess, but whatever. Grow the fuck up. I mean, Scarface was more violent in 32, sure, but um, did Home Before Dark? Did that movie get? Because Bad Seed got censored when it was made. Did that movie get censored from what was in the book or no? Do you know?
No, no, it wasn't. But there's a lot in the book that isn't in the film, which I think were good choices. But I want to know, because I know you're rating, but what are your thoughts on Home Before Dark? I know
gotta
it's my
try to
favorite, but I know
remember.
it's
I mean,
not.
I liked it enough. I don't love it like you did. I'm trying to remember. No, I mean I liked it. It was psychological because aren't they trying to like gaslight her, right? Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's a gaslighting story, which I don't know if you've seen the movie Gaslight, the remake from '44. That was a great movie. But yeah, it's like a gaslighting women's story. I mean, I liked it. Yeah, I didn't know that the Dan O'Hurley was in it because he's in RoboCop as well. I did not pick that up.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, I liked the movie. I didn't think it was bad or anything. I don't know how to really. I mean, my rating on Letterboxd with these is kind of like I don't know how to rate movies that I just think are okay. Like from like number 9 all the way to number 18, I thought they were all really like fine. I didn't think any of them were bad or anything. But yeah, I mean, I liked it, and Gene Simmons is good in it. Have you seen her in Black Narcissus?
I have not.
Okay, she does. She plays like an Indian in that movie, so it's like racist, but whatever. It's good. Um,
Interesting.
she's
Okay.
in brown face. Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to. I mean, you have more to say about it because you really liked it. I'm trying to think about more.
Well, I don't want to
in the
talk too much
movie.
about it because I want to cover some more ground. But basically, just I'd highly recommend it to anybody. In fact, real quick story: I showed it to a friend of mine who likes movies like me. And after it was over, he said, it's nice to watch a movie that's a little older that relied heavily on good acting.
Well, yeah,
Like
that's
this is just
something.
good
Yeah,
acting.
that's a parallel between this to Home Before Dark and The Bad Seed because The Bad Seed is basically a movie. When I first had heard about The Bad Seed, I thought it was going to be a different movie. I thought it was going to be like a schlock fest where like a little girl is going around murdering people, which happens in the movie. She murders a bunch of people, but it's mostly just like a woman, a mother, freaking the fuck out because her daughter is a serial killer, and it's a drama.
Yeah,
And I'm like, wow, this movie is. I did not expect this movie to be like that. It's mostly all dialogue in like a house or whatever, or like a kind of like Rear Window, where it's like a staged type of thing.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
I really like that. So no, I mean movies back then in general. I mean, I think we talked about this too, maybe in one of our videos. The oh god, how do you describe it? The thing the audience wanted to see, the entertainment value, the stuff that they like in All About Eve, they mentioned once how the most exciting thing in that movie that happens is that Betty Davis goes down a flight of stairs. And it was tied with Titanic for having the most Oscar nominations. And of course, Titanic is a whole fucking ship ripping in half and sinking. So back then, the things that excited audiences and that they wanted to see for their entertainment was completely fucking different than it is nowadays. It was human
Yeah.
stuff, drama, human relationships. That sort of stuff is the stuff that was entertainment back then. It wasn't special effects. And then over time, I mean, there was still special effects in horror movies and King Kong and stuff, but that was one thing. It wasn't what all audiences wanted. And as time went on, you know how I feel about modern audience, it got more where it was like that thing was like almost secondary in a lot of movies. What sold and what was popular were the big effects and that sort of thing, and the human stuff, which was in every movie back then, whether it was a fantasy or whatever. It was always like I had a human story or a moral lesson or some shit. Then it switched over to that stuff is secondary. We're only going to write a script because we need a script. It's got to be this big shit and all that kind of crap. So it just switched. So you watch these kind of Mervyn LeRoy movies, and a lot of them are there's just human stories. So,
Yeah.
and he's a great director to talk about too because he's like Michael Curtiz, or I guess the most famous example would be Howard Hawks. Though Howard Hawks is a more of an auteur director, even though he directed a lot of things, different genres. I would say Curtiz is kind of like not Curtiz, Leroy is like Curtiz because they directed a bunch of different movies, but they never had a distinctive style. They kind of were just like workman directors who directed things and blended in. I guess William Wyler is like that as well. He's probably maybe the most famous example, even though nobody knows what the fuck William Wyler is anymore either. But of directing a
Hmm.
bunch of different films, and you never really know who directed them, which a lot of people would say that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think if a movie's good, it's fucking good. I don't think you need to have that like Orson Welles stamp of approval or Hitchcock on your movie. But make a good movie. I don't. It doesn't have to be an auteur thing. So it kind of flies in the face of that because he made so many movies, Leroy, in different genres, and I think he
Oh,
has.
seriously.
I think he has probably the best director to work with Edward G. Robinson. I think. I mean, I'm trying to think if another director worked with Edward G. Robinson more than once. Oh, there was one other guy. I forget who it was. He directed some comedies with Edward G. Robinson that I like. But other than him and Leroy, I can't really think of any other director who worked with him more than once. But yeah, so all right. So what's the next movie you want to talk about?
So, my second favorite Leroy film that I watched. This is interesting. So, when I was going through his films, there's only so many options on streaming, unfortunately, especially with his movies. So, I was on Prime. I just
Yeah,
typed in his name, and a bunch of movies popped up. So, that's how I watched a lot of these movies. One of them popped up called Any Number Can Play. I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. So, I played it, and I fucking loved it. I thought it was just insanely good. It's got a Clark Gable, and
yeah,
it's about like a casino owner and like his story and all these things. And I mean, it's not like a pitch perfect masterpiece. I gave it a 5 out of 5 anyway, but like I just was just engaged from start to finish. I was it was so intrigued, and the ending with the it's just, it was really good. I just
yeah.
really
I
enjoyed it a
liked I
lot.
like that one too. That one's a little bit higher up on the list. That movie has a lot of people in it too. I'm looking here, but Mary Astor I think only had like one scene in it, but she's in it.
Yes, yeah,
Wendell Corey is in it, who's a pretty good actor. Frank Morgan, I think this was his last movie, which is really
yeah,
sad because I love Frank Morgan's one of my favorite character actors because I love Shop Around the Corner, and
yeah,
obviously I think he's the best part of The Wizard of Oz, but I think he's just the best actor in that movie to be honest. He actually it's funny in Wizard of Oz only Judy Garland and Frank Morgan ever really had that much of a career after that movie. If you think about everybody else is in that movie, even Billy Burke and Margaret Hamilton and such, they weren't really known for anything like super big. But I feel like Judy
yeah.
Garland obviously was the biggest star in that, and then Frank Morgan really were like the two big names and stuff. But yeah, I like this movie. I mean, I like Gable. Are you a Clark Gable fan though? Like besides this movie?
I mean, I haven't seen much of him, but I thought he was excellent. I thought he, played the part well. Um, I just, like I said, like especially the ending where like he was like betting like all of his money. I guess it was Frank Morgan, and
Yeah,
like it was very intense. And yeah, it kind of has like that schlocker like bad guys with the guns ending kind of thing. But I didn't care. I love when a film entertains me from start to finish with no issues. And I found no issues with the film. I thought it was just excellent and interesting and intriguing. So I really enjoyed that one. I'm glad you liked that one too.
yeah. All right, so let's go. So what's another one here that you want to talk about?
So my number three is a film you suggested, and I fucking loved it, and it might even be my number two if I watched again. Five Star Final.
Yeah, that's for me. That's close. It's either between that and Little Caesar as his best one with Edward G. It's tough
Yeah,
because Little
I
Caesar
mean,
is a showcase for Edward G. Same thing with Five Star Final, but Five Star Final has a lot of things going. That's a dark fucking movie. So, are you talk about it? So, tell me what you liked about that. I knew you were gonna like it as soon as you were watching those because that's how this started. I think I saw you watching some of his movies, and I was like, oh shit, you got to see these ones with Edward G in them because I think at the beginning of last year, after I finished the Sean Baker and Safdie brothers stuff, I watched about 11 more Edward G Robinson movies because that's how I kind of do it. I kind of go in blocks
yeah,
if
yeah,
I'm feeling. But honestly, my movie watching is just vibes, which I think is the best way to be. Like fuck this curated shit. I just want to like
yeah,
watch movies that if I see something, it gives me an idea, and then I go into it. But I don't need these streaming services to tell me what fucking movies to watch. So I ended up watching
yeah,
11 more Edward G. Robinson movies because one of those actors you could watch any fucking movie he's in, like Claude Rains, and it's just like, oh okay, the movie or Humphrey Bogart. The movie's good, even if the movie's not that great because he's in it. So this one blew me. I thought this movie was incredible, and it's funny too because Five Star Final came on. I think
31,
right
I think.
after Little Caesar. I think it was like almost immediately after Little Caesar.
Yeah,
So or it might have been before Little Caesar. I don't remember, but they were very close to each other. So Edward G did his
yeah.
two of his best films with Mervyn LeRoy in 1931. This one, of course, is completely forgotten, but it's also I had seen a clip of it earlier because in that big Universal documentary that you and I talk about sometimes, the big one that's like an hour and a half, I actually
Yeah.
showed my girlfriend that she really liked it. That clip from this movie is when they talk about Boris Karloff before he played Frankenstein, because this movie came out the same year as Dracula and Frankenstein, but right before Frankenstein came out. So they
Oh,
show the
okay. I thought
clip
it
of
was
him
after. That's
in
interesting.
that dock standing next to Edward G and stuff. So yeah, so talk about this. What did you like about Five Star Final? This is one of the best journalist movies I think ever made, which nobody talks about, even though it's one of the
I
best ones.
I loved it. I thought it was super fucked up. I love old movies that are fucked up. I my favorite moment of the film. This may seem a little strange, but hear me out. It's the scene right after Edward G. Robinson's character approves the story. He goes to his little like corner and washes his hands. Symbolic, like his hands are dirty. I thought that was
Yeah,
so awesome. I loved how it's like I was watching it. I was like, God damn, this is a fucked up movie, man. It's just like the woman. Spoilers. She commits suicide, and it like the moral aspects. It was just enthralling. I loved it. I was just like, wow, I love these old movies. Before I think the Hays Code, where they can get away
yeah,
with
it's a
more stuff. It's
pre-code.
like,
It's a
hey, this is
pre-code.
fucked up.
But
Free
they
code,
had, I
okay,
mean,
yeah,
in 30s movies especially, even after the Hays Code came in, and in 40s movies too, but especially in 30s movies, they were very much like fable stories and stuff. I think we talked about that too. They have a heavy, it's weird, they have a heavy moral message in them, but they never feel like they're preaching to you. Some do, I suppose, because it's not every movie's great, but the ones that are really good, because this movie, Five Star Final, kind of has that kind of horror-y feel to it, even though it's not a horror movie. It has
yeah,
like
yeah,
a darkish, kind of noirish, kind of horror tone, which I mean, of course it does, because we talked about how fucking German expressionism and that sort of vibe is like the most influential thing ever. So even non-horror
right,
movies would have that because why not? It's more interesting. It's more interesting. So why not do that? But I like the scene that they always the show when they talk when they show well if they ever show this movie, but it's at the end when Edward G just like loses his shit and he's
yeah.
fucking yelling at the guy or whatever and tells him to get it. I mean, that's just great. His acting is great in that movie, and Karloff's really good in it too. Even though, of course, this was
Yes, he is.
pre Frankenstein Karloff, so it's like in Scarface when he gets killed at the bowling alley, which was really fun too. Like the pins, the balls rolling down the thing and gets like a strike or whatever after he dies. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I just like I'm gonna have to watch it again because I've only seen it once, and I want to watch it again because movies I really like I have to see more than once. But
yeah,
I really liked it. I really liked it when I first saw it. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know. Like, it's just crazy because it's such an early one too. And I think
yeah,
maybe in a way it's a better movie than Little Caesar, but it's tough because I really do like Little Caesar as well. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
No,
it's
I like Five
crazy.
Star Final better than Little
It's
Caesar.
crazy because it's
I
like
Yeah,
it's one you make two movies with the same actor in that year of that kind of quality. It's just nuts. But they really pumped down movies back. That's the thing too about old Hollywood is a lot of people don't realize is that they pumped out movies back then like it was like on a conveyor belt, which you would
yeah.
think wouldn't work, but because the studio system was set up, it actually does work because you're able to make so many movies a year. Karloff made 80 films before he made Frankenstein.
I didn't know that. That's
They're a
crazy.
director. I mean, there are actors that won't make 80 films in 60 years. Karloff made 80 films in a decade before he was Frankenstein's monster.
That's crazy.
I
That's
mean,
insane.
it's
That
insane.
really
It's a whole
is.
career, more than a career, in 10 years.
Yeah,
So they made
yeah,
movies rapid fire back then. They would shoot them 1, 2 weeks. They would go as fast as they could, have them all out and made and done really quick. I think The Thin Man was shot in 14 days. So I mean, come on, it's you have a better like a chance of making these things that way. I don't know why it worked. I think the deadlines kind of helped a little bit too. I think some artists need to be under some kind of constraint, which I know people don't want to hear. But I feel like
Yeah.
when artists become unhinged, like Tarantino, you sometimes get that artist that's got its head up his ass.
Oh yeah.
And I think
Especially with
that
him.
back then, a lot of these people did pride themselves in the fact that they can get movies made under budget and under time. And that wasn't how Welles worked, and that's ultimately why Orson Welles failed. It's because Orson Welles was decades ahead of his time. He was a 70s filmmaker working in the 40s, and that's why he failed.
Yeah.
He didn't work well in the time that he was alive. And that's kind of how Hitchcock was as well. Hitchcock would have wanted to do more sexual and violent things, but he couldn't because he worked back in the day. So, all right, so that's 5-star final. That's one of the best ones. So, what's our next one you want to talk about?
Number 4 for me is I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang.
Oh, this
from
is
1932.
another one that is really great and is not talked about enough. This could be his best one. I could see somebody saying this is his best movie too. This is a great movie.
Yeah, and like I said before with Home Before Dark, a lot of my favorite LeRoy films is when he has a story that sort of challenges societal dynamics, and like this is another example. Like, well, 5-star final,
Yeah.
any number can play, but this one, talks about, how back in the day, prisons, and how they treated their inmates, and in fact, this movie was so famous back then for doing that. LeRoy and the film crew were banned from going to Georgia because I think the film took place in Georgia. So Georgia took it personally and said, if you ever come to Georgia, we're going to arrest you for whatever fucking charge they had. That's how serious this movie was, because it kind of cracked open the fucked up nature of prisons and hard labor and all these things. So it actually was a very important film at its time. But besides that, it's a very gripping story. The main character gets himself in a bad situation. It's not even his fault, and it's a really fucked up story. Another fucked up story from the 30s. I love it. I just think it's excellent. I really, really enjoyed it.
And it's got the horror elements in it too, even though it's not technically a horror film. The ending, when
Yeah,
he's like whispering or whatever, is really fucked up.
yeah.
It's real dark.
And he fades in the darkness. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's got that morality stuff again, the fairy tale fable stuff that so many of the movies had in the 1930s. Like that
yeah.
classic moralizing stuff that just fucking works. I don't know why the fuck it works back then and it doesn't work now. Well, I kind of do because the movies are made by grown-ups, but I mean, it just works back then. Yeah, we talked about that too. As movies went on, they became just as a rule basically inherently childish. I mean, they just did. But it's
Yeah.
weird because they are moralizing in these movies a lot. Like LeRoy, but he's just telling the story too, and I think that works as well. I would say probably if you want to think about the director that probably moralized the most, it's probably Frank Capra. But even his movies worked as well. So I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I mean, they would call them Capricorn back then, but even now you watch It's a Wonderful Life, and you're like, yeah, I get like this, Mr. Smith. I get that it's kind of cheesy and kind of preachy, but doesn't really. It still has enough humanity in it that it overrides
Yeah.
any of that. And I think that's why these movies work too, because they're just human stories and they don't feel like they're bullshitting you or like coddling you or anything, even though they have a point. I mean, there's a strong point. I like the guy in this movie, the guy who plays the old guy. He was in The Thin Man as well, the really lanky dude.
Hmm.
Um, he plays the guy in The Thin Man that gets murdered at the beginning. Um,
Yeah.
he's good in it. I'm trying to look. Let me look at the cast because I'm trying to remember who else was in this movie.
Well, Paul
Oh,
Muni's the main character, and he's great.
yeah. Paul Muni is in it. Yeah. From Scarface. Oh, Glenda Farrell's in this movie. She was in Little Caesar, but she had her own series of movies called something. I don't know. She was a detective or something. But she was the main character in one of my favorite movies of all time, which we talked about, Mystery of the Wax Museum, which
Okay.
is the original House of Wax with Vincent Price. It's the original one. Have you not seen Mystery of the
Yeah.
Wax Museum?
I have not seen
Oh
that.
man,
No.
you need to see that with Lionel Atwill. Oh my god, have you seen House of Wax though, or the one with Paris Hilton? Have you seen any of those?
I've seen the Vincent Price film. I think that's excellent. I love that one. It's very fucked up, and
Yeah.
it's like the first slasher film, And then I've seen the 2000 whatever remake, and that
Yeah.
one's ass. But
Wait, you got to see
yeah,
the original because in the one for Vincent Price, you find out. Well, it's spoilers. We all know it already, but you find out pretty early on that Vincent Price is the guy with the burned face. In the original one, that's more of a mystery. But anyway, the original, on a side, really quick, Mystery of the Wax Museum is an interesting movie because the main character of that film is a woman that doesn't die in a 1930s horror film. Like, you have Fay Wray being the damsel in distress, like she was in King Kong, but to have a main character in a horror movie be a woman in 1933 is, like, shocking. And it's great. It's just amazing. It's so far ahead of its time, so I think everyone should watch Mystery of the Wax Museum. But what the hell are we
Well,
talking?
time I watch this now. Time I watch this now.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna really like that one. And the two-strip Technicolor it's gorgeous, and the greens in it. It's weird. The greens in that movie and the some of the sets kind of give off a Wizard of Oz. You know, like the Emerald City. You watch it and let me know if you think it looks like the Emerald City a little bit. It's very strange. But anyway, that movie's great. So let's talk about another one. Let's see. What's your next one on your list?
So I don't know if you suggested this one or if I just found it, but it's called They Won't Forget with
Oh, that's with Claude Rains. I might have suggested that one, but I ended up watching. That one was okay. I'm trying to remember it. I mean, I like Claude Rains. Let me read the description again. Oh yeah, this is kind of like a pre well, maybe it's not pre. I don't know when the hell the play was written, but what is it called? Oh shit, what's that play called where they fight in court? Not Written on the Wind.
I don't know.
Side of the Wind. Oh, remember it was with Frederick March. It was like a 50s or 60s movie where they have a court battle between each other. And they have to. The guy's like an atheist, and they have to like determine whether or not he's going to go to prison for teaching atheism in his school. I gotta look this up. Hold on.
I have not seen that.
Let me look it up. Hold on one second. It kind of gave vibes from that story, but maybe I'm just wrong. Oh, Inherit the Wind.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'm completely wrong on this one, but it gave me Inherit the Wind vibes. They also made a remake of Inherit the Wind with Jack Lemmon and George C. Scott after they did 12 Angry Men together, the remake. But anyway, what did you think of this one with Claude Rains?
I loved it. It pissed me off. I'm a big fan of courtroom films.
Yeah, I like courtroom dramas too. Courtroom dramas are one of the best subgenre, whatever ever.
I like the fact that this film doesn't answer any questions about what happened. Like they just pin this guy, and you know what happens. But Claude Rains is excellent. I thought he was great. It's just funny because he's playing a guy from the South, and he just sounds like like he's not from the South at all. But that didn't bother me. I don't care. But Claude Rains is great.
Oh yeah, I didn't even pick up. But yeah, Claude Rains couldn't. It always just sounded like he was I don't know, whatever it's about. Yeah, he had such a heavy accent, Claude Rains.
Yeah, but no, he's great in everything, and I think in this film he's exceptional. Like he's like at the end where he's closing arguments, he's fucking pissed off and yelling, and it's a great again. This is another fucked up societal dynamic films from LeRoy. I just like when he challenges us with these stories of like, is this right? Is this wrong? What are your thoughts? It's so interesting to me, and this one especially pissed me off a lot because of the ending. Obviously, you know what happens, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. I think I gave it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, Claude Rains is one of the best actors ever. I have like a rotation between Edward G, Claude Rains. I mean, I do like Bogey too, but it's between Edward G and Claude Rains. I always think that they had probably the best careers of any. And Jack Lemmon had a great career as well, and so did Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant. But I really think that Edward G and Claude Rains had the best careers because they could really play anybody. And they didn't have to worry about that big Hollywood star status that they had. And they could be character actors, but also be, like, the leads in movies. I mean, you start off as, like, The Invisible Man. I mean, that's just, like... It's amazing. So, but yeah, he's great in it, too. I'm trying to think what the fuck... I gotta try to remember all these damn movies. But, I did like this one. Yeah. That was higher on my list as well. Let's see. All right, wait, did you watch 2 Seconds?
No, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, because you watched all of these movies like whatever, you know what I mean. You tried to find all of these movies
at once.
No, not oh god, how do I say this without actually saying it? You didn't sail the 7 seas when you found these movies. If you know what I'm talking about.
I just had time in December. I had a lot of time.
No, I mean you watched them tried to watch them legally.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I don't sorry, I didn't get what you mean. Yeah, I don't pirate.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said you didn't sell. I was trying to say that without saying it.
I'm like, no, yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, I know. So if you watch them on,
I don't know how to.
if you watch them on OKRU, which is the old Hollywood movie thing, then you'll be able to find all of them because OKRU has every terrible quality 1930s and 40s movie you could ever want to watch. But anyway,
Good to know. Thanks.
so let's. Yeah, OKRU is the one you actually hear people talk about on Twitter as well. So, anyway, so let me talk about 2 Seconds really quick then before we go on to your next
Go
one
ahead.
because that's a great movie and I want you to see it. And I want you to see Counselor at Law, which is a William
Yes.
Wyler movie. You need to see, if you liked 5 Seconds, you need to see Counselor at Law because John Barrymore, great actor John Barrymore,
Yeah.
he's great in that fucking movie. He's so good. That movie, when I saw that movie, because I thought Dodsworth was my favorite William Wyler movie, which I don't know if you saw Dodsworth, but that's another fucking incredible. When you see Dodsworth, you're going to be like, holy shit, fucking Walter Houston is just incredible in this movie. But that movie is like neck and neck with Dodsworth for me. They're both perfect movies. And they're also movies of his that really nobody talks about. But anyway, 2 Seconds is a movie with Edward G., and it's a flashback movie. So it starts off with Edward G. in the electric chair. And right before they're going to zap him, he has a flashback of his whole life. So I guess that's kind of been done I guess that's kind of been done in movies before, but it's dark. It's like a Twilight Zone episode or something. It's real dark. So
Interesting.
he has a flashback as probably as he's getting electrocuted or something. I don't remember how it exactly starts, but he has a flashback right before they kill him. So basically what happens is he's fucked. Like, he accidentally pushes his friend off a skyscraper.
Jesus.
It sounds weird when I say that, because how does that happen? They're like they're like working on a building. And the guy accidentally falls off a building and dies. And a series of things, I don't remember too much, because I've only seen these things once, but a series of things happen where Edward G. gets framed for killing his friend, and a bunch of shit goes down, and then of course at the end, you know how it ends, he's gonna get offed. But I don't remember exactly the middle of this movie. All I know is that it's a flashback about how Edward G. is screwed because he accidentally murders his friend, or something like that. But you should see it. I think if you like Five Star Final, you'll like that one, because they're both really dark and interesting. I don't think 5 Seconds or 2 Seconds is as good as 5 Star Final, but I still think it's a good movie. And that was made when? Let me see. That one came out in 1932, so it was the year right after Little Caesar and 5 Star Final.
God, he made so many movies, it's crazy.
They made movies back then. Directors, I think Hitchcock made a movie every year, but there were some directors back then that made more than, like LeRoy here, made more than one movie a year, which is just, well, you think it's a big thing, but like I said, the way they made movies back then, you know, they pumped these things out so fast that you could make, you know, a couple of movies a year.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a problem. I mean, like, think about James Whale, right? He makes Frankenstein in 1931. Then he makes The Old Dark House in 1932. Then he makes The Invisible Man in 1933. And then he skips 1 year, I don't know if he did anything between that, and makes Bride of Frankenstein in 1935.
Right, exactly.
I think he was possibly going to make, we talked about the whole Dracula's daughter thing, so that debacle. But yeah, I mean, they were just, like, pumping these things out, so, and to be of that quality, it makes you think, like, movies nowadays, they cost so much money, they take so long to come out, and it's just like, they have all these effects, and it's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like that Stranger Things. I hate Stranger Things. I don't even hate Stranger Things because it's a television show, but still it counts as this. I don't even hate Stranger Things because it's Stranger Things. I hate the fact that they took a decade to make this show, and they just waited and burned so much money making this like dog shit fucking, you know, 1980s nostalgia crap. They waited so long that, like, the actors are, like, 40 now, even though they were, like, teenager, or, like, they were, like, 12 when it started. They waited so long. And it's just, like, it's a money laundering scheme. It's ridiculous. It's just, like, pathetic. So that annoys me. But back in the day, they used to, and also, I mean, you got to remember, too, they didn't really take movies as seriously as they do nowadays either back then, which I think also kind of helped.
Yeah.
I think very few directors can have their heads up their asses like we talked about and not just be, you know, Quentin Tarantino's. So, all right. So what's the next one you want to talk about?
You briefly discussed this, so we can have a little discussion about it. But The Bad Seeds, my number 6.
Yeah, Bad Seeds, great.
For this one. This is something I watched this for a long time, ever since I watched Home Before Dark, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting in how it was told. I like you said, it could have been like this conventional, kid killer movie, but it was actually just like, like dialogue.
It was a
and
kitchen sink kind of
emotions.
drama. It was a kitchen sink drama, which
Yeah.
I liked. It was good.
My only complaint, and this is just me being picky and annoying, so I'm sorry, but I'm a huge fan of movie scores. If a movie has a good score, it drives the points up for me. This movie had a bad score. I saw my review. I didn't like the score, so it's a 9 out of 10 for me. But some older films, not all of them, but some older films don't have the best score. They just don't.
Well,
They're
yeah,
just very
that would be a
conventional.
complaint I have about old Hollywood movies, is the fact that when you watch something like Dracula, we talk about, where there's no score, it
Yeah.
kind of makes you think about the fact that, hey, wait a second. And Betty Davis complained about this when she was doing, oh shit, I think it was Dark Victory. Because Max Steiner, who did Gone with the Wind, King Kong, he did all the Warner Brothers scores, Casablanca. They were very score-heavy films. Now, if they're good scores, they're fine. You remember them and you like them. But there were a lot of movies back then that you'd have a scene happen, and you'd have to hear like this dun, 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 and it's like, whoa, we don't need this fucking music in this scene. We can understand exactly what's going on without having to be, babied with this fucking score. And I mean, maybe that wasn't their, I don't know what their intention was, but that was the case. It was coddling, and I don't remember too much if I didn't like the Bad Seed score or not, though. My problem with the Bad Seed is that they had to censor the fucking movie. At the end of the book, she goes and kills, she tries to kill her daughter and herself, right? And, how does the movie end again? The movie ends, does the mother die at the end of the movie?
The little girl gets struck by lightning.
No, how does it, but in the movie, I forget how they changed it, because in the movie, she, ODs, right? And ODs her daughter or something, and they go to sleep together. Does the mother die in the movie, or what?
I don't, honestly, I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Fuck.
I
think,
remember.
no, wait. I think in the movie, they changed it from the book. I think in the book, the mother dies, the little girl lives, and doesn't get struck by lightning. And then I think in the movie, the mother has to live, and the daughter, something like that. They censored it to make it safer. I do not like the fact that she gets struck by lightning at the end of the movie. I think it's shit.
I think it's hilarious.
No, it doesn't even make any sense, because the movie starts off with that scene. It was shot later. I think it was it was a reshoot. It starts off with her on the dock, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then the whole movie plays out, and randomly at the end, she decides she wants to get the necklace or whatever it was. She wants to go back and find the thing. And then she just gets struck by lightning and dies. I just thought it was tacked, and it was tacked on. It was not part of the original book. It was there because if a villain kills somebody in a movie, they have to die. Even though there were certain movies, like It's a Wonderful Life, where nothing happened to the villain, but whatever. So it's got that Hays Code, even though the Hays Code was kind of dying at that point, but it's still got that Hays Cody, you have to kill your villain off. And I just didn't care for the ending. I thought it kind of deflated a little bit, but there have been movies like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, they put on that ending. So they've done that sometimes, they tack on those things, but whatever. So, but I thought the Bad Seed was awesome. I thought all the performances were great. Actually, both the woman who played the mother and the daughter were nominated for actress and supporting actress that year. Patty McCormick, who plays, what's her name in the movie? Let me look this up. What the fuck is that?
She was great. The
Rhoda,
little girl, she was really good.
Yeah, Rhoda
she was very creepy.
Is great. She lost the Academy Award, though, to Dorothy Malone in Written on the Wind, which, sorry, but, I love Dorothy Malone in that movie. I like Rhoda a lot, but it wasn't, whatever. The guy who played the, guy who would clean up, LeRoy and stuff, who she, sets on fire, he was actually in Dick Tracy in 1990.
Oh, shit.
So he was still around. Yeah, he has one scene in that movie real quick, I remember, because I'm like, it's that guy. And I think... Was he in anything else?
It's that guy.
Yeah, it's that guy who gets he was in The Grifters as well, which was a 1990 movie with Angelica Houston, John Cusack. Yeah, he was in that as well. Anyway, all right, let's move on. So that's a good one too, because we got a few more to talk about, and we're already 40 minutes in. So, all right. So you have any more you want to talk about? Because I have 4 more big ones on my list to talk about.
Well, my next one's Little Caesar, but I'm sure you're going to bring that up. So why don't you just talk about your 4?
Yeah, so Little Caesar, I want to talk more about the fact that there had been obviously villains in movies since at the beginning of movies. But, The Great Train Robbery is the original villain movie. I mean, you literally have and Goodfellas, they homage that movie by having Joe Pesci shoot at the camera. That's how
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the Great Train Robbery ends. Um, so you had villains in movies. Obviously, Count Orlok and Nosferatu, I think, is one of the earliest movie villains. Same thing with Caligari. Those are like real, like traditional movie villains, kind of mustache twirling or whatever. And then
Yeah.
Nosferatu, Count Orlok. But 1931 and the 30s in general. I mean, okay, so after the 30s, I would say probably the biggest villain thing was probably the femme fatale. But before the 1940s, every single villain trope pretty much was set up. I'm not, yeah, because you had your gangsters, you had your Little Caesar, you had your Scarface, you had your James Cagney films, you had your horror movie characters. So you had Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Invisible Man. You had your bad women roles. So you had, which was pretty much just Betty Davis because no other woman wanted to play in Hollywood wanted to play the roles that Betty Davis would play. So like of human bondage and things like that, the really crazy women roles. And then you had which we talked about in the other video. You had the fantasy characters as well, which was Wizard of Oz and Snow White, and that was the only two. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you had also there was a movie called She, but that doesn't really count very much. But like Dracula's daughter. So there was some things, but pretty much in 1931, which is what I'm trying to get at here, was when all of the villains and they're all guys, of course, because guy villains have just been dominant in movies more so than women, other than
Yeah.
the femme fatales, but or like the crazy ladies. But they were all set up in 1931. So 1931, you had Little Caesar, M, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dracula, Frankenstein, all in one year. So everyone was
Crazy.
there. So I just think it's
Yeah.
fascinating because they really like Little Caesar is the rise and fall type of thing. He starts off, gets everything in the world, and then loses it. Though in Little Caesar, he doesn't really start off as a good guy. He's like a bad guy.
Yeah.
Some of them have like more good intentions, and then they rise up and become like evil or whatever, and then fall. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like the movie a lot. I mean, I like Edward G. I like when he's nasty. I mean, I don't think he was ever as nasty again in this movie, other than in Key Largo, which I don't know if you saw Key Largo.
I have a friend of mine who's been telling me to watch that forever,
He
and I need to
plays
watch it,
Johnny
so I haven't.
Rocco. He plays, which is basically kind of like how Lugosi played Dracula again one more time in '48. Well, Edward G. that same year, '48, plays his Little Caesar again. Basically, it might as well just be Little Caesar had he not died. But he's called Johnny
Right.
Rocco, so they both get to play their
Okay.
most iconic characters again, Lugosi and Edward G. 16 years, whatever it is, 17 years later. So he's
That's
even
cool.
more nasty in that. But I like this one a lot. Oh, you want to know a trivia fact about it? Because obviously I would bring this
Yeah.
up. There's one scene in this movie where Edward G. goes to his mom, who hates him, and I think he asks her for money or something. And Edward G.'s mother in this movie is played by Lucille Laverne, who obviously voiced the Queen in Snow White. So
Oh,
she
really?
is, yeah, and she sounds like the witch, so it's real weird. It's like Edward G. His mom is the witch. It's very strange, and it's kind of awesome. So if you watch this movie, or you've seen it, right? No, you've seen it. You didn't pick that
Yes.
up.
Yes.
Oh, I guess you didn't
Yes.
pick it up. Yeah, it's
No, I know I didn't. I haven't seen Snow White in a long
yeah.
time.
Well, if you watch Little Caesar again and you listen to how the way his mom talks, oh, it's totally. I mean, it's just like she just sounds like the witch. But yeah, it's awesome. So I love that part of the movie. I love the ending when is this the end of Rico? It's a great ending. Mother of Mercy, yeah, it's just awesome. I love the movie a lot. I mean, I don't know. People say it's really tame. It is more tame than Scarface, and it's a fuck ton more tame than White Heat, which you have to see. White Heat. You got to write those down: Mystery of the Wax Museum and White Heat and Counselor at Law and Dodsworth. Yeah,
Okay.
those four movies. I'll
Gotcha.
text you them later or something. But yeah, White Heat, Dodsworth, Little Counselor at Law, and then yeah. So yeah, all right. So let's move on. So I only have three more big ones. Do you have another one you want to talk about?
No, those are my seven. So you go. You can
All
go
right. So
ahead.
let me go through then the ones I didn't really care for very much. There's one called Mr. Roberts, which is only
Yeah.
it's only famous because it was Jack Lemmon's first Academy Award, which I don't think he should have won for this movie, but whatever. He should have won for the fucking apartment
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
it hot. But actually, I think Jack Lemmon in the apartment for me, that's up there with one of the greatest performances by an actor in movie history. I really think Jack Lemmon in The Apartment is really good. Like, I think he's up there with Jimmy Stewart and like Vertigo or The Swimmer, Burt Lancaster. I think it's really good. So, or Edward G in Double Indemnity. I mean, like really, or Claude Rains in Casablanca. Like a really good performance. But
Right.
Mr. Roberts. Oh, and also Mr. Roberts is famous for the fact that it was the last movie that William Powell made because William Powell retired from movies in the early 50s and didn't die until the 80s. So he lasted a while. Because he was big in the 30s and stuff with Thin Man and all those things. But he retired in the early 50s. So have you seen the Thin Man movies?
My grandpa really liked. No, I haven't. But my grandpa loved that movie. My dad likes that movie, Mr. Roberts, and I thought it was charming. I mean, some things didn't age well, obviously, but like, it's okay. I wouldn't watch it again.
No, Cagney is in that too, I think, right? Yeah, Cagney's in that.
Yeah, Cagney's good. Yeah, Cagney's an asshole. Yeah, but
I mean, I love seeing William Powell, but I only watched the movie because I was kind of forced to watch a bunch of Jack Lemmon movies. But anyway, then there's another movie called Three on a Match that had Bette Davis in it. That was okay. Then there's another one with William Powell that I watched called High Pressure. That was okay. Johnny Eager, I didn't care for that movie. That had Edward Arnold in it.
Mm-hmm.
Lana Turner, I didn't care for that. There was another one I recommended you watch called Unholy Partners.
I don't think I watched that one.
Okay, that had Edward G. and Edward Arnold. So it was another Edward G. Mervyn LeRoy, except it came out a decade after Little Caesar and Five Star Final in 1941. And I only watched it because I love Edward G., obviously, and I love Edward Arnold, who nobody... Edward Arnold now is basically only remembered for the fact that he's a joke in Gremlins. Did I tell you about this?
I'm pretty sure you did, and that's actually crazy.
Yeah, because when the woman goes flying out the window, Mrs. Deagle... it holds for like maybe 2 seconds on a portrait on her wall before she goes flying out the window. And the portrait on her wall is of Edward Arnold, because the joke is the fact that he played greedy, money-hungry banker characters in movies. So that would be her husband, because she was greedy. And also, they kind of cut the subplot out of that movie where she was supposed to be trying to like money launder or some shit. But yeah, he's a joke now in fucking Gremlins. But you know Edward Arnold, right? He was in all those Capra movies and stuff.
I need to see more.
He was in a movie called that I think I also told you to watch called The Devil and Daniel Webster.
Yeah, I remember you told me about that one.
You would like that movie too, because also Walter Houston's in that. All right, so we're good with that. So let me go through the last then 3 that I have to talk about. So, man, this is tough. So the first one's Gold Diggers of 1933, which
yeah.
I like this movie, but I have to watch it again. I mean, so it's weird. There's also a movie called Gold Diggers of 1945 or 35, which I've never seen.
Interesting.
And there's also 42nd Street and Footlight Parade. I've never seen any of those fucking movies. I don't really care for these, like, big, We're in the Money, like all that shit. I think We're in the Money is in this movie, actually. But wait, did you hate Gold Diggers of 1933?
I didn't hate it. I just didn't really care for it.
Well, that's more interesting, because I don't really know what the hell to talk about, because I don't barely remember watching it. So I liked it, but I have to watch it again. So, all right, so we don't have to talk about that for very long. These 2 I really want to talk about, which are Random Harvest and Waterloo Bridge. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 I want to talk about, because those are the romantic Leroy movies, which, are you not a big romantic movie person?
I mean, like, yes and no. I prefer them if they're like, if they're like not fucked up, but like, not just cheesy, like I'm not a big like cheesy romance like kind of guy, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I probably I don't know. I go all over the place with movies, but I think that Waterloo Bridge I thought was fucking dark as fuck. So I don't know if you saw that one, Waterloo Bridge. That one's a dark movie.
I actually like that one a lot. I gave that an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that's the one where she has to basically become a prostitute because she gets fired from her fucking. Oh my god, what's her face is in that movie? Our favorite actress, Maliva the Gypsy from The Wolfman, Maria Usmanskaya. She runs the dance school. God, she's so fun. Every time I see that woman, I just want to I just think about The Wolfman. It's like impossible not to. I'm kind of glad, because that woman also is kind of forgotten, but I'm glad she was in The Wolfman, because she was a big actress back then. She was, responsible for, creating the method acting. Nobody knows that. But yeah, anyway, so she's in that movie, and then Vivian Leigh, of course, is right after Gone with the Wind, the year after. So like biggest actress like in the world or whatever. But
Yeah,
she also wanted to be in Wuthering Heights, but they didn't let her do that, which I think she was pissed about. But she's really great in the movie. I just think it's a romantic film, and also it's fucked up, so it's like a tragedy
I
or
like that
whatever.
one.
How does that
Yes,
movie
yes, it was a
end again? I
tragic
don't
love
remember
story.
how it ends again though. They don't get together though, do they? No.
I'm pretty sure she commits suicide.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's fucked up. So I liked Waterloo Bridge, and then the other romance that he did, which is the one that I really like, Random Harvest. Random Harvest is a crazy movie because there's just no way in hell a movie like this would be made nowadays. It's basically like a fairy tale. I mean, it makes no sense logically at all, which is kind of why I love it. No, because it really doesn't. I mean, I don't know about the book. It's weird. In the book, you in a book you don't have to, you don't see anything in a book. So they had to figure out in the movie how the hell are you gonna not know that the person that's the narrator of the book is also because you remember in the movie well, all right, I'll try to explain this. Jesus, so this guy is coming back from World War One or whatever, right, or World War Two. I think it's
Yeah,
World
yeah.
War One, and he has amnesia, and he meets this woman who works as a dancer, and they fall in love and they get married. Well, he has a job because he's like a writer or a painter or something. I don't fucking remember, and he gets hit by a car and gets his old memories back from before the war and then forgets her. Now, in the book, because you don't see anybody, you don't know that she's the one who's narrating or something in the book. They had to get around like this type of thing because you don't see the person. But in the movie, they had to then make it her like that she was his secretary the whole time, so that you don't know that she's found him again, and you only hear her voice, and then she comes in, and you're like, oh shit, she's been his secretary the whole time, even though he doesn't remember who she is anymore. So they figured out how to fix a part in a book where it's not a visual medium into a visual medium. So that was very clever. But yeah, the movie makes no sense. It's probably got a bunch of plot holes, even though I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that it's like hyper romantic. Like they really in this movie, basically it's a fairy tale, it's a fantasy, and they go
Yeah.
like balls to the wall with that shit. Like they really go like right at it. Like at the end of the movie, I mean they're literally standing in like a Thomas Kincaid painting or some shit, where it's like like the flowers like hanging off the trees, and it's just like it would probably make most people vomit. Honestly, it's great. I love it. I don't know. I love women's stories. I think back then, women in movies had the best roles. It's weird too because you think about like that time period, how sexist it was, and yet when you got into the 1970s, which a lot of people call the golden age of movies, I don't. I like the 1970s a lot, but I don't think at all that was the best time for movies. And I think one of the reasons why for me it wasn't is because it was a fucking sausage fest. When the studio
Yeah.
system collapsed, there was no need for women movies anymore because during World War II, the men were at war and the women were seeing movies. So in the 40s and late 30s, 40s into the 50s, you had these things called women's pictures. A lot of them got made fun of and then later on became classics like the Douglas Sirk ones. But when the 50s ended, actually it was funny, Stanwyck wrote a note to her agent and she was like, "Listen, this women's film thing, this shit's over. I'm out." And she became a television actress after that. But you had for a certain period of time women going to see movies, and because movies are a business and need to make money, they made these movies like women's movies. When the 70s came around, there was no need because men were making movies for men. It was basically independent films. The 1970s American cinema was essentially like a European style of movies. It was just like the weirdest time ever. Studios throwing money at these directors to do whatever they wanted, and they didn't understand women, except for Cassavetes, who was, directing his wife. But they didn't get women. So women roles in 70s movies and women directors obviously weren't really a thing. You had like 4 movies directed by women. They were just like out. So you watch a movie like Random Harvest and it's total, or Now Voyager or stuff like that, Stella Dallas, totally different from anything that was made after that. So I really do like that sort of thing. You can kind of feel it. And also kind of weird too because these are like men like Mervyn LeRoy. I mean, you had some like George Cukor was gay and stuff, but these are like I don't know who's writing these scripts. I don't know. I mean, I know sometimes they were written by women, but it's interesting to me that you could have such a male dominated industry And yet, I mean, they were based off books and stuff too. Like Random Harvest, I think is based off a book written by a woman. So you have that, but how they became like these films came out and they weren't really very sexist as you think they might be. I mean, you have like a film like Now Voyager where that movie isn't even about really the romance. I mean, that movie's about Betty Davis realizing that she wants to raise the guy's kid the way her mother didn't raise her, which is a very interesting thing for a movie. So I don't know. I like that Random Harvest is kind of like schmaltz, but also it's totally committed to what it is. It's kind of like Commando. Do you know the movie Commando?
Like with the
Where
Arnold
Arnold
Schwarzenegger?
Schwarzenegger, yeah. I just
Yes, I
compared
have.
Random
Yes.
Harvest to Commando, but it's like in Commando, that movie knows exactly what it is, and it doesn't remotely try to be anything else than it actually is, and it's not self-conscious or anything. And I think that that works. Or like a Frankenhooker or something by Hedden. Like those movies are like they know exactly what they are. Now those are schlocky, but
That's an interesting comparison. I really appreciate that.
well, yeah, because you have because it's more so in like low budget like trashy films. But back in the day, no, they didn't. The thing about we can end on this because this is the last movie I want to talk about, and I think we talked about this once before. The movies of and even in the '70s too, but up until I would say around the '90s, maybe the '80s, there wasn't really irony in movies. There were movies that could be ironic, and there were ironic themes in movies. But overall, the movies that were made, and it's funny too because the times that these movies were made, I mean, it was like all hell was breaking loose. I mean, you had we had World War One, the Great Depression, World War Two, and then of course it led into Vietnam and stuff in the '60s. But there was up until that point, there was never a sense of irony in movies, and there was more of a genuineness, and you never felt like I don't know. It wasn't like self-aggrandizing, or it wasn't like like I said, their head up their ass or whatever. But it was never ironic. They were just telling stories, and I like that about. And
Yeah.
I think Leroy has that too. I think these movies are very earnest, and after a while, and I think ultimately that's why I don't think films failed, but I think that it definitely lost something. People are just too self-aware right now, and I think they're too irony pilled, like they call it. And I think what's his face talked about that too. Paul Schrader or whatever. He's a fucking nut, but he wrote Taxi Driver and directed Hardcore.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
like, when we
Yep.
made movies, they weren't irony, and you could see that in the '70s too. In the '70s, like things were just fucked basically. There was no irony, and then Pulp Fiction came. Well, irony in a sense that you think you have it and then you're fucked. But I mean like irony in the sense of like a Pulp Fiction where everyone knows what's going on. That type of irony. That's what movies became, and I think that it changed things in a lot of ways. And I think being earnest and is considered corny now and old fashioned. And I don't think these movies would work. I don't think old Hollywood seems like a happy accident, but I think really it was the society in which these movies were made. Even though it was a bad time to be alive, I mean, obviously, and also these movies are racist. They have no black people in them. I mean, it's a white fest in these movies. I mean, it's racist, but the good parts were where they had this magic to them that I think was the times changed. You can't post '60s you can't bring that back. So I don't know. I'm not really sure. But anyway, what do you want to say about Mervyn LeRoy to wrap this up? Since we got about like 2-3 minutes left.
Well, to talk about Random Harvest for a second, it's
Ugh.
interesting to me that my favorite Leroy film is Home Before Dark, and you think it's okay, basically, which is fine. And your favorite, or one of your favorites, is Random Harvest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not a bad movie. I just was maybe just not as invested.
Yeah, no, I
kinda
can
like,
see it's got a little
know.
bit. It goes on for a little long. I remember the middle part of that movie. It's an hour and it's 2 hours and 5 minutes. It kind of has a little bit of a pacing thing in the middle where like, damn, can this shit can they like figure it out? But no, I like seeing when my movie taste is very weird because I really do. I don't think there's any movies that I really maybe westerns. I haven't watched enough westerns, but those are very guy centric. But no, I like gangster movies. I like the crime movies. I like the horror movies. I like the romances. I like the musicals. I like to an extent, but I pretty much will watch anything. And with Leroy, I mean, I love Bad Seed, which is and Five Star Final, which are dark films. And then you have something like Random Harvest, but all his movies are very human, and he also got to do a lot of things. And
Yeah.
they talk about the auteur theory a lot, and I think it's good. I like the idea, but then you look at the auteur theory like we talked before we started this video, with the Safdie brothers. And I don't know. I feel like there's a strong possibility that the Safdies and maybe even Sean Baker are going to burn themselves out pretty quickly. I
Yeah.
have a feeling that their auteurist ways cannot last very long. And I thought when I saw Marty Supreme, I was like, the auteur thing is good and all, but you got to shake this shit up. And directors like
Right.
Mervyn LeRoy, they had that. William Wyler, Michael Curtiz. I mean, think about Michael Curtiz. He directs The Adventures of Robin Hood, Mystery of the Wax Museum, Mildred Pierce, Casablanca, Yankee Doodle
Yeah.
Dandy. All completely different movies. And you remember the movie. So I'm not... Yeah, it's these directors shouldn't be looked down upon because I don't... The auteur thing is fine. I mean, you get an Orson Welles filmography or a Hitchcock filmography. But it is cool that these directors that can do everything. I think there's an... Sam Raimi is kind of like that, too. Even though he doesn't make movies very much. But Joe Dante was like that. So... And they're like genre nerds and stuff, too, which is good because... But I just watched... I don't know if you saw Inner Space, the old Joe Dante movie with Martin Short.
No, I've not seen that.
Yeah, great movie, but it was like, he just made a lot of different movies, so... But anyway, yeah, what do you want to say about Leroy to wrap this up? Because I have like 1,000 opinions about, these classic movies and stuff, and why they are the way they are, because there's a reason for it.
I just think that as someone who made over 70 films, he was very versatile. He made, dramas, horrors, gangster, westerns. I mean, every fucking genre you can imagine, he did it. And I just think he's underrated as hell. He should be up there with, like, the Hitchcocks, of the old filmmakers. He was from the 30s to the 60s, for Christ's sake. I mean, he should be more well known, is all I need to say.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It's a weird thing about talking about this because you and I are gonna make this video and I'm gonna upload this, and I don't have a huge channel or whatever, but even if I did have a huge channel, I don't know who the hell's interested in two people talking about Mervyn LeRoy in the 2020s. I mean...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Old Hollywood stuff, it sucks because we have now unlimited access to basically, well, unless it was destroyed, which we, get sad about. We can't watch, like, London After Midnight and stuff. But unless the films were destroyed, you have unlimited access to everything. And in a way, it kind of showed how kind of, like, dumb our society is, because people refuse to watch this stuff. Even though now they have unlimited access to watch everything that was ever made that still exists. And it's overwhelming, sure, but it's also nice because, like, you can go back and learn about these things and stuff and watch these old movies and really see that things have not really changed that much in terms of, the human condition very much. I mean, there's been social progress. And now, of course, we're going backwards, but there was things that have changed. But, no, I just like his movies a lot. So this was a good discussion. I'll have to probably watch more of his movies at some point. I want you to see 2 Seconds, though. I definitely think you'd like that.
Yes. I'll find that and watch it and let you know.
Unholy Partners. Maybe you'd like that one as well. But
okay.
All right, so I'm going to stop the recording, and then we'll talk for a few minutes after. So this was fun. It went on for a little over an hour. So next time we'll do another horror-related thing. Maybe we'll talk about more horror movies and stuff. So, all right, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.